There's something deeply wrong with the way you've been taught manifestation. The problem isn't your effort. It's the slowness embedded in the belief, it's not here yet. Every time you say, I'm waiting for this, you're literally contaminating the present moment with absence. You're training your timeline to stay exactly where it is, because you've signaled to the field, this is still missing from now. That's why most people's manifestations move like molasses. They're not slowing down time. They're broadcasting a frequency of not yet into their entire embodiment. But what if I told you there's a way that's radically faster? Not because you work harder, but because you stop working against yourself. You're about to learn how to collapse what should take months into days, sometimes hours, by trading effort for perfect coherence. Stay until the climax moment. That's where I'm handing you a 90-second protocol that'll show you exactly how collapse actually happens, when the internal contradiction finally stops. Manifestation isn't a technique you perform in time. It's a collapse that happens right now, through unwavering coherence and a stable vibrational identity. That's the difference between people who manifest effortlessly and people who spin their wheels forever. Here's the brutal truth. Alignment beats effort every single time. Effort moves you centimeters forward. Coherence bends the entire road toward you. I learned this the hard way. For years, I was the classic hustler, grinding, visualizing, affirming, pushing with every ounce of willpower I had. Nothing. Then one day, I stopped. Not gave up. Stopped negotiating with the fear. And within days, something that should have taken months just arrived. That's when I realized the secret wasn't in the intensity of my effort. It was in the stability of my frequency. Think of your mind like a radio dial and your emotions like the actual signal strength. Your thoughts can point toward the station all day long, but if your emotional frequency is scattered, unstable, or laced with doubt, you're broadcasting static. Nobody's tuning in, nobody's receiving. But the moment your observer becomes still, the moment your embodiment aligns with who you're claiming to be, that signal becomes crystal clear. The field responds. Reality bends. And it happens fast. Today you're getting the full map. 5 game-changing insights that'll shatter everything you thought you knew about why manifestation felt so slow. Then I'm walking you through the exact moment when potential becomes real, the collapse, and showing you a practical 90-second protocol you can use immediately. This isn't theory. This is applied coherence. Let's go. You know that moment when you close your eyes, visualize so intensely you even feel chills running down your spine, and then nothing happens? I spent months doing exactly that. I'd visualize my ideal life every single day, build these perfect mental pictures, feel that initial rush of excitement, but my body stayed tense. My chest felt tight, and I could barely sleep properly. What I didn't understand back then was simple. I was training my nervous system for absence, not presence. Every time I visualized in the future, I was signaling to my body, this isn't real yet, something's missing. Think about it this way. You've walked past that bakery window before, right? You look, you salivate, you smell that fresh bread coming straight out of the oven. But you don't go in, you just keep staring. What does your body learn? Look and lack, not have and taste. That's the trap of conventional visualization. You're creating a frequency of wanting, but not of having. The observer inside you stays outside the window, creating a neural pattern of separation between you and what you desire. Here's the thing. The secret isn't about visualizing better. It's about immediate embodiment. I stumbled upon this by accident when I started practicing what I call It's Already Now for just 60 seconds. It's pretty straightforward. You breathe in, counting to 4, and during those 4 seconds you feel a specific detail of your ideal scenario as if it's already happening in your body right now. Maybe it's the weight lifting off your shoulders because you don't have that worry anymore. Maybe it's the natural smile that forms. Then you exhale, counting to 6, let it all go. Repeat 5 times. The difference is brutal. When you do this, you're not projecting into the future anymore. You're collapsing a potential timeline straight into your nervous system now. Your body doesn't know the difference between something vividly felt and something real out there. So it starts broadcasting the signal of someone who already has it, not someone who wants it. And here's the truth nobody tells you. The quantum field doesn't respond to your stated intention. It responds to the dominant energetic signal you're emitting in this exact moment. The almost mistake is fatal because you get stuck in this eternal loop of approaching. You're always almost there, but never actually being there. And the universe doesn't negotiate with almost. It mirrors coherence, not effort. When you shift the signal from I want to I am, something changes instantly in the field around you. People notice you differently. Opportunities show up without you hunting for them. It's like you've switched radio stations. But what's coming next will show you exactly why this works at a level most people never grasp. Here's where it gets wild. Most people think they're manifesting when they're just thinking about manifesting. There's a massive difference between being the observer who thinks and being the observer who is. Timelines don't collapse because you thought about them really hard. They collapse when you become the energetic match, when your entire being shifts into that state. It's not about the words you repeat in your head, it's about the person you're being while you're breathing. I'll never forget this one morning. Nothing special happened. No big ritual. No 30-minute meditation. I just woke up and something inside me was different. I didn't say any mantras, didn't visualize anything. But my posture changed. My breathing slowed down naturally. I walked differently to the kitchen. And that day, everything shifted. An email I'd been waiting on for weeks came through within hours. A conversation I'd been dreading turned into an opportunity. It wasn't magic, it was coherence. My entire system had stopped contradicting itself. Think of it like this. There's a camera, and there's an actor on stage. When you're just thinking, you're the camera, watching, analyzing, commenting from the sidelines. But the scene doesn't change because the camera's watching it. The scene changes when you step onto the stage and become the actor. When you embody the role so completely that there's no separation between you and the character. That's when the collapse happens. That's when potential becomes actual. Here's something you can do right now, today. Every time you open a door, climb a staircase, or start a new task, say this short phrase internally. I am the place where this happens. Not, I want this to happen through me. Not, I hope I'm worthy. Just I am the place. Feel the shift? You're not asking permission from the universe anymore. You're declaring your frequency as the location where reality bends. You're becoming the observer being, not the observer thinking. And here's a tiny practice that'll blow your mind. Take 3 conscious steps somewhere, anywhere. Turn your head slightly as you walk, really noticing your environment. That's it. 3 steps. Present. Aware. What you're doing is signaling to your body I've already arrived, not I'm trying to get there. This micro shift in presence tells your nervous system that the timeline you want isn't in the future. It's collapsing into now. But hold on. Because what I'm about to reveal next is the missing ingredient that makes all of this accelerate beyond what you thought possible. Here's something they don't tell you in those manifesting courses. Thought gives direction, but emotion gives voltage. Your thinking mind can point the arrow at the target all day long, but without the emotional charge behind it, the arrow barely leaves the bow. You're essentially trying to manifest with a dead battery. The real power isn't in what you visualize, it's in what you feel while you're visualizing. Coherence isn't just mental alignment, it's emotional stability at a frequency that matches what you want to attract. I learned this the hard way when I was running my own business. I spent weeks crafting the perfect pitch emails, rewriting them obsessively, making sure every word was flawless. Nothing. Radio silence. Then one day, I did something different. I sat down for 90 seconds before sending, closed my eyes, and felt genuine gratitude. Not, I'm grateful this will work. Just pure, sincere gratitude for the fact that this opportunity was already happening in my field, already real somewhere in the timeline of possibilities. I sent the email feeling it, and I kid you not, responses started coming back the same day. Multiple responses. The collapse happened so fast it felt unreal. Think about it as a bow and arrow. Your thought is the archer, aiming at the target. Your emotion is the tension in the bowstring. If the string's loose, the arrow falls 2 feet away. If the string's tight and ready, the arrow flies true. Most people are trying to manifest with a slack string. Lots of thinking, zero emotional power behind it. They're the observer analyzing the target, but they're not the archer actually drawing the bow. The universe responds to emotional frequency, not mental effort. Here's your immediate tool. Before you do anything important today, send an important message, join a meeting, make a decision. Try this. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Do this twice. It's called confidence breathing, and it literally shifts your nervous system into coherence. Then spend just 30 seconds feeling microdoses of gratitude. Name 3 things your body feels good about right now. Maybe the chair supporting you, the air in your lungs, the fact that you're becoming aware of this. Let that feeling anchor. And here's the kicker. Replace "I hope this works" with "thank you. This is already happening in my field," while you feel warmth in your hands or relaxation across your forehead. That tiny phrase shift, paired with genuine emotion, is like switching your embodiment from beggar to receiver. You're no longer negotiating with reality. You're confirming what's already unfolding. But what you're about to discover next reveals why your body is actually the most powerful broadcasting antenna you've ever owned. Everything you've learned so far leads to this. Your body isn't just carrying around your thoughts. Your body is the transmitter. It's the antenna broadcasting your frequency to the entire field. And here's what most people get dead wrong. Your thinking mind is almost irrelevant compared to what your body is actually saying. Your posture, your breathing rhythm, the speed of your speech, the tension in your nervous system, these communicate a signal that's infinitely louder than your internal dialogue. You could be thinking, "I'm confident," while your shoulders are hunched and your breath is shallow, and the field receives the real signal. "I'm defensive and uncertain." The body doesn't lie. Before some of my biggest business meetings, I used to prepare mentally for hours. I'd psych myself up, repeat affirmations, visualize success. And you know what? The conversations would still feel off. Then I tried something different. I stopped focusing on what to think and started focusing on how to be. 10 minutes before a crucial meeting, I'd straighten my spine, slow my breathing way down, and lower my shoulders. Nothing fancy, but that tiny shift in embodiment changed everything. I'd walk into those meetings and people would actually listen differently. They'd agree more readily. The deals would close faster. It wasn't that my words got better. It was that my coherence had shifted, and they could feel it. Think of your body like a Wi-Fi router. A strong signal. That's low, stable breathing. That's shoulders relaxed. That's a voice that's calm and measured. That's an observer who's grounded in presence. A weak signal. That's shallow breathing up in your chest. That's shoulders hunched toward your ears. That's rapid-fire speech and a nervous system stuck in overdrive. Most people are walking around broadcasting a weak signal their entire lives and wondering why the timeline they want isn't materializing. They're literally not sending the right frequency. Here's your power move, and you can do this starting today. Next time you're about to do something important, make a call, send an email, enter a room, ground yourself for 90 seconds, feet planted on the ground. Exhale longer than you inhale. Really, make that exhale count. Open your chest just 5% more than you normally would. It's subtle, but your body feels the difference. Then speak 3 sentences at 10% slower than your normal pace. That's it. You've just recalibrated your embodiment and shifted your broadcasting frequency. Your nervous system is now in coherence. But here's the daily anchor that'll keep this locked in. Every single time you pick up your phone, say this internally. Shoulders down, jaw relaxed, vision broad. Make it your phone ritual. It sounds simple, almost silly, but you're creating a somatic trigger, a physical cue that automatically realigns your entire embodiment toward coherence. Within days, this becomes automatic. Your body learns. And then something even more profound happens when you realize you don't have to push toward what you want anymore. You just have to become the right frequency and let it pull you toward it. Everything you've been learning is about to flip. Most people are pushing, struggling, chasing the life they want like they're hunting down prey. But what if I told you that the most powerful thing you can do is stop pushing altogether? What if the real magic isn't in forcing your timeline into existence, but in becoming the frequency that naturally attracts it? It sounds counterintuitive, but it's the opposite of effort. It's the art of magnetic pull. Instead of being the seeker, you become the magnet. Instead of collapsing a future, you're allowing the future that already exists in potential to collapse toward you. There was this pivotal moment in my life when I stopped trying so hard. I'd spent months grinding, visualizing aggressively, pushing my manifestations like I was wrestling with reality itself. I was exhausted. Then I made a choice to just stop. I chose peace instead. Not resignation, peace, neutrality. I stopped the internal negotiation with doubt, and something wild happened. Opportunities started showing up without me hunting for them. A client reached out unexpectedly. A door opened I didn't even know existed. A conversation changed everything. The shift wasn't in what I did. It was in what I stopped doing, the constant pushing. That's when I realized the observer I'd been training all this time was finally relaxed enough to receive. Here's the paradox that most people never grasp. When you're desperately seeking something, you're broadcasting the frequency of lack. You're the limalha, the iron filing, running frantically toward the magnet. But when you're the magnet itself, when you've embodied the state of already having it, the pieces come to you. It's not that the universe changed, it's that you changed the polarity of your coherence. You're no longer the desperate seeker, you're the resting receiver. The future doesn't need you to chase it. It's been waiting for you to become the frequency that matches it. Try this today. For just 2 minutes, ask yourself, how does someone who's already living this dream actually breathe? Not how do they think, not what do they say, how do they breathe? Deep, relaxed, grounded? Then match that breathing. Feel the embodiment shift. Your nervous system will start recognizing itself as someone who's already arrived, not someone still on the journey. That subtle recalibration is everything. You're not faking it. You're tuning into the actual frequency of fulfillment. And here's your confirmation signal. When you're in true reverse manifesting, it doesn't feel like euphoria or desperation. It feels simple, obvious. Like, of course this is happening. Why wouldn't it? That calm certainty is the signature of real collapse. Not the frantic excitement, not the white-knuckle effort, just the quiet knowing that the pieces are already moving. But there's one more moment I need to walk you through, the exact instant when everything stops being potential and becomes absolutely, undeniably real. Most people never experience true collapse because they're always holding a tiny thread of doubt. There's always a voice whispering, "What if this doesn't work?" And that's the problem. The moment you stop negotiating with your own fear, the moment the internal contradiction dissolves completely, that's when reality bends. That's when everything you've been building toward doesn't trickle in slowly. It arrives all at once. It's not gradual. It's not, oh, maybe it's starting to work. It's sudden. It's undeniable. Because you've finally achieved perfect coherence. There's no part of you fighting against another part anymore. Let me paint this for you. Recall a moment in your life when you suddenly stopped being afraid of something. Not because the fear disappeared, because you stopped negotiating with it. Maybe it was a conversation you needed to have, or a decision you'd been avoiding. Remember how the moment you finally committed, something just opened? That's the collapse. That's the moment the observer and the observed became one. The timeline didn't slowly bend. It snapped into alignment because your entire being was finally pointing in one direction. No contradictions, no hesitation, just absolute embodiment of who you're choosing to be. Here's your protocol for triggering this moment whenever you need it. Step 1 is decide. Not think about deciding. Actually decide. Lock it in. Step 2 is breathe like the person who's already living it. Slow, grounded, certain. Not desperate, not excited, just settled. Step 3 is take one small action that confirms the identity. Open that email, make that call, move toward it with one micro step that says, I already am. That's it. 3 steps. When you do this with zero internal contradiction, The frequency you broadcast becomes so clean, so aligned, that reality has no choice but to respond. The field doesn't negotiate with uncertainty. It mirrors coherence. And here's the secret they buried in all those manifesting books. Speed isn't about rushing. Speed is a result of coherence. When you're not fighting yourself, when there's no internal civil war happening, things move at lightning speed. What takes others months happens in days because you're not wasting energy on doubt. You're channeling it all into one direction. One frequency. One timeline collapsing. That's why manifestation feels effortless for some people and impossible for others. It's not about the technique, it's about the absence of contradiction. Here's what most people miss. Integration isn't about repeating the technique, it's about repeating the state. You don't manifest by doing, you manifest by being. The moment you stabilize your identity, the field reorganizes around you automatically. That's coherence. It's self-sustaining. Your job now is simple. Lock it in with a daily 6-minute practice. 2 minutes of confidence breathing, slow, grounded, no rush. 2 minutes of gratitude scan. Notice 3 sensations your body feels right now. Let gratitude anchor into your embodiment. 2 minutes of rhythmic posture and voice. Shoulders down, jaw loose, speak 10% slower while you move through your day. That's it. 6 minutes that keep your frequency aligned. Watch for these signs. You'll notice more neutrality. Fewer obsessive thoughts about, when will this happen? Decisions become simpler because there's no internal war anymore. You stop compulsively checking for results because you already know the collapse is unfolding. That's your proof that coherence is locking in. And here's the final truth. Stable alignment doesn't just speed things up. It opens an entirely new field of possibilities you couldn't even see before. This is where you take action. Hit that like button. It tells YouTube this matters. Subscribe now and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next layer of this teaching. That's how you support content like this and stay in the flow. Here's your anchor. Drop a comment saying, "Speed is a state of being," and feel that phrase land in your body. Write it, feel it, become it, and don't leave yet. Your next video is waiting on screen. Final stage of awakening. Stop being the observer, become the field. Today you learned how to collapse fast. Next time, we're going deeper. You're going to stop observing reality and start embodying the field itself, so that reality responds without any effort at all. See you there.